Welcome back to a pond house garden. Today is part 2 of the winterization process. Ozzy and I are outside right now digging up all the dahlia tubers that have been here waiting for us for the last week. Now, if you watched part 1, you'll know that I beat the rain and I got out here and I put the tin foil over top of all of the cut stalks, which was great. And then 2 days later, the sky turned gray, almost black, and we had an immense freeze and snow. And the backyard looked like a winter wonderland, which was awesome because I get very excited around Christmas time. But I'm not so excited when it comes to the fact that I'm trying to dig dahlia tubers up before we get a really deep freeze. So it only happened the once, thankfully. But our temperatures did fall to 0 degrees for lows, sometimes actually -1, maybe -2. We are in zone 8B, Vancouver Island, British Columbia. So it's not normal for us to all of a sudden go from summertime to wintertime here. We usually have this lovely gradual fall, this long drawn out fall. We can tend to our garden beds, but we were frantically scrambling last week trying to get all the planters into storage and try to get all of the things that are gonna deteriorate over winter if they're left out in the frost. We were like just going from bed to bed, collecting things, wheelbarrowing them into storage for the winter. So I think we've done it. But my last step now is to get the bed tended to. So today we are going to walk through this bed together. I'm going to bring up all of the tubers, put them in a wheelbarrow, and then take them over to Ozzy's bathtub where I'm going to give them a really good wash. That will be the next step. So let's start and let's get all of this done. Let's get at it. So that's what it looks like when it first comes out of the ground. And if you notice, oopsies, darn it, one came off. But I'm using a fork and I find it's easier than using a shovel because if I put the shovel in the ground, I'm more likely to pierce the tuber. So this way, I just kind of tease it out of the ground. I put my fork in and around and just tease it out. Here's another beauty. Thought I'd show you this one. Wow, look at all the tubers on that. They'll become more clear as we wash them off. This one, unfortunately, it did not make it. So what happens is, and I don't know if you can see this very closely, but the tuber will actually start to rot. Let me try to take that off a bit. This one, I thought I was gonna lose anyway. When I put the tin foil on there last week, it had already started to deteriorate. The stalk had started to deteriorate. I actually have a runny nose and I'm so cold being outside right now. Okay, I'm better. Where'd fall go? Okay. I don't want a runny nose for you. Got it. So what happens is if you can see here, it starts to deteriorate. And this was a solid piece and now it is just a skin, basically. Just also you can see the stalk itself had started to rot. And so there are a few, oh, and this one just fell off in my hand. So they're all falling off of the mother, all the tubers, and they're either half rotten, they're slimy down here, and then I can show you this side. It's just remnants. It just starts to break down right in the ground. So I'm not even going to try to save this one, which is awesome because it means that I get to buy a brand new one in the spring. With every step of the process, I'm also making sure that I've got a tag with each one of these tubers as I pull them out. So you'll see me hesitating because I'll be looking under the tin foil to see if the tag is there. And if it's not, then I grab the stake, that's my backup tag, that's sitting in the soil. And I'll be sure once I wash this off to wrap a tag around it right away. Okay, and that wraps up that job. Take a look at these hands. I'm sorry, but I can't use gloves. I just like to be very tactile and touch them as I go. I want to be careful to tease them out of the soil. Runny nose again. I think it's time for a cup of tea. I'll be back. What do you have in there? Let me see. Oh, right beside your poops. Oh, a little bit of the dahlia. That's a no for Oz. I'll switch you out for a treat instead, buddy. We want to keep you alive. Yeah. So this is it. From this entire bed of dahlias, I have an entire wheelbarrow full of all of the cut stalks. And remember, we kept these in the ground for another week and a half after we cut the stalks, just because we wanted to promote growth of the eyes on the tubers, which will help us with division. And I've got a couple more over here that I couldn't quite fit onto the wheelbarrow. So next step is moving this guy over to the bathtub. Beep, beep. And luckily, Ozzy doesn't mind sharing his bathtub with the dahlias. So one by one, I'm going to wash off the dahlias. I can actually set this to be somewhat lukewarm water for my own hands. So that way I'm not so cold out here washing them all down. But I'll just take these one step at a time, wash them off, and then they will grow eventually into a drying rack where they will dry overnight. Now, once I make sure that all of these are hosed off and each one of them has a tag on them, then I move them into the drying room, which they will stay in overnight or possibly into the next day. I'll just have to keep monitoring them. The idea is we want to dry out the tuber, but not so much that it actually starts to shrivel up. We want to have a little bit of moisture in there when we do our next step. So you will see that very soon. Off to the dry room we go. Now, before I go any further, I just wanted to show you what the dahlias look like if you don't take them out before the frost. So here is a stalk that I left in the ground, and it is completely rotting at this point, and it's gone soft. It's no longer hard, it's actually malleable, and it's just, yeah, it's just wet. So I'm gonna try to rescue this and see what happens when I pull the tubers out, but I might have been too late. Oh, it's another Miss Tegan. I already have Miss Tegan in my collection that is saved, but I will experiment with this one and pull it out regardless, and we'll see what happens. All right, all washed off and ready to go to be dried. Every single one of them have a tag on them so that I can identify what the tubers are. I've left the stalks on them just as handles. This is why we cut them in the first place down to 6 inches. It's just because it's easier to tear them out of the ground. It's also easier to transport and dry as they are right now with the stalks on them. Tomorrow, if they are nice and dry and ready to go into their winter bags, then I will definitely make sure to cut the stalk off. In fact, I can feel, yeah, they definitely need to get inside. I need to cut them down. and then just have the remaining tubers. But that is more information to come your way on the next video. I will show you that process. Let's get these inside because the sun is going down, it is getting cold, and they need to start to dry off. I was just walking by the other garden beds, and here's more dahlias that I didn't pull up before the frost. So as you can see, they just end up going to mush. Ugh. But that's not to say that the tubers might still be okay underneath. But I'm going to set these ones, I'm going to pull them all up tomorrow, and I'll set those on different drying racks. And I just want to see the comparison between doing it at the right time versus leaving them in the ground past that first frost and seeing what happens. I say the first frost, I shouldn't say that. We had a mega frost, okay? So it's not just the first frost. These guys have been hit really hard because we had a couple of our little light first frosts, and then we had the mega frost this week. So they don't have much hope, I don't think. Okay, here we go. That one is so big. The other ones are so small. Okay, keep going. So the idea with storing them on drying racks like this, or if you have soil sifters, it would work the same way, is so that circulation can get, air circulation can go all the way around all the tubers. If you put it on a table, then the underside that's sitting on the table won't get the airflow, and so it won't dry. Then you'd have to flip it. This way, I have full circulation. So I just want to make sure, of course, that everything is spaced apart and that they all have enough opportunity to fully dry. My lips have gone numb again. And this, I don't need to have the tin foil on these ones. I can pull that off, but all right, I'll unload the rest of the wheelbarrow. All right, and that's it. So the thermostat is set to 46 degrees Fahrenheit, and the fan is oscillating behind me. I will leave these overnight, come out and check them to see how moist they are and if they're ready for bags. And we will continue with the next video and the next step. Is that not amazing that every single one of these tubers could potentially be a plant? And I got all that growth from one season. So they are looking great. Some of them, as you can see, they do not produce as many as the other ones do. You can also see that different plants come with the different tuber shapes. So some are more round, some are more elongated, and they go on from there. Some are just huge. I'm excited to see what the spring brings. So tomorrow I will deal with all the other dahlias that I didn't get out of the garden beds. I have 5 more beds of dahlias that are packed and that got frostbitten. So we'll see how that goes, but I'm gonna bring them up regardless because I have to. They have to have a chance too. Here's more of them all along here, just dying to get inside. Just dying to get inside. Oh. That's very much a dad joke, right? Anyway, thank you so much for coming out today. I promise you tomorrow I will be posting, or the next couple days, I'll be posting round 3 of the winterization process. If you like what you see, press that big thumbs up and also subscribe for free so that you are alerted to the very next video that I send out for winterization of dahlias. Of course, you'll be alerted to all the other videos that I post as well. Remember, your dreams can become a reality just like mine have. All you have to do is take that very first step. And maybe today is understanding how to winterize dahlias so that next year you can start your very own collection. Until next time, have a great day. Oz, have you been digging too? What's this? Yeah, that's the septic field, buddy. Yeah, I'm gonna have to train you to dig up dahlias, I think.